What's up YouTube? Dale here from Zephyr with another live duel from locals. So on the left I am playing Dark World and on the right my opponent is on Blue Eyes. We start off by normal summoning down the Kokimiru Guardian. We're going to utilise the Genta to search us out gates of the Dark World. So Kokimiru Guardian doing exactly what I wanted to do, giving me protection from Droll and Lockbird as I try to go down the biggest route possible that is going to do a lot of searching. Starting off by searching Gate of the Dark World, then activating Gate of the Dark World to draw a card, and then being able to go Chaining 1 Snow, Chaining 2 Genta to search out another Dark World card, and obviously summoning back the Genta to the field. So this time we're going to go for the Rainbow. Now the ideal way to start your Genta combo is by discarding something like the Rainbow, because then the Rainbow can loop the resource back to hand and you go again. In this scenario I get to utilise Zatalamander Catalyzer, which is basically a controlled danger, because you get to discard as effect your Rainbow. Rainbow then searches off, I return the Genta back to the hand, and we go again. So this just gives you the ability to get another Gates of the Dark World, activate said Gates of the Dark World, and then use it again. So we're going to banish the Genta and we're going to discard another Dark World. Just to explain to my opponent that obviously it's the banisher's cost, but the discard is part of the effect. So if they wanted to interact, they could do. We're going to go for the Silver. Silver is going to summon itself back. We draw obviously a fresh new card. Unfortunately, Silver wasn't discarded via opponent's card effect, so they still get to keep their hand for the time being. But when you're looking at this field right now, it's kind of really a balance of levels. Like Link summoning is such a great thing for the deck. It'd be really cool if we got a Dark World Link monster. I just don't know what you do. Like you kind of need a Dark World Link monster that says when your opponent activates a monster effect, change that effect to become you discard a card. But then that's pretty much what the fusion does anyway. So we get to use Duel. Duel is going to summon itself to the rightmost or leftmost column. And in doing so, we get to link off into IP. And the idea with this one was to get the Bjord to the graveyard to then grab us the Mutiny in the Sky. So we've opened up the door to summon out Loose. But if we're able to get access to original Grepher or original Rainbow, we can actually add another fusion summon to this play. Now, the IP could have become Cross Sheep. So I kind of want a more generic level 2. Unfortunately, I revealed Bigfoot and they hit the Kokimiru Guardian, which is usually quite good, but it's also quite disappointing as well because that second Kokimiru Guardian could have come in handy to reveal it to keep the first Kokimiru Guardian on the field. So we go into... Did I not go into Buzz King? Oh, I chose not to go into Buzz King on this one to draw new cards. Because obviously if I went into Buzz King, I would have had to use the Kokimiru Guardian, which would have opened me up to Nibiru. Whereas without doing that, I get to use 4 monsters with different names, go into Skuldred Saruja, and then draw fresh new cards. And we're trying to save the special summon effect of the Saruja. Like, I don't need to use it right now. We're just revealing a danger. We hit Silver again, Nessie, summon, draw, summon back Silver, return the Silver back to the hand for the Rainbow. And this is where like Dark World's resource just becomes crazy. Activate a session using Grepher and Ceruli. Bring out the fusion monster of Grepher. We go Chaining 1, Ceruli, Chaining 2 will be Grepher because both of them are mandatory. Ceruli goes to my opponent's field, makes me discard Silver. Silver summons and makes them put 2 cards back. Starting the process of like hand looping, but the one thing that is good in this matchup for Dark Worlds compared to Blue Eyes is like its most powerful card in the form of Wishes requires them to discard as cost. So even when they have 4 cards to start their turn off with, it just causes them so many more issues. So we're going to use the Sessions effect in the graveyard. We're going to be searching out gold off of the back of Rainbow. Rainbow lets me return Silver back to the hand. And then, of course, I can overlay both my level 8s here. And this is where Buzz King comes into play, because Buzz King will then give me the ability to look at my opponent's extra deck. Keep in mind, apart from the mat, at this exact moment in time, I don't know exactly what my opponent is playing. And this person usually plays like Cyber Dragon. They can play Blue Eyes. So it could have been a toss-up between the two. Whereas the Buzz King is going to give me like the full information. I'm just kind of contemplating, do I go Cross Sheep? I've kind of put the fusion monster in the wrong zone. So we're just going to go into Buzz King. Use Buzz King's effect, put the Grepher into the graveyard. Look at my opponent's extra deck. Obviously confirm that they're on Blue Eyes. Take away the Blue Eyes Link 1. And then from this point on, it's kind of just like, how far do I want to link off the... how far do I want to link up? So we're going to go into the Muckraker, use Muckraker's effect to discard gold, to then revive a fiend from the graveyard being Snow. The reason I want to do that is obviously gold comes to the field, but I can put the gold back to the hand and I can also put the Snow back to the hand to bring back out Greffa and Rainbow. And ultimately, in scenarios like this, you basically just get free hand resource. As long as you keep using like Greffa as the link material, you get free resource to bring the Rainbow and everything else back to the hand. So now we're going to do a Link 4. We're going to go into a battle queue. The reason I'm using the Quackimiru Guardian now is that I've got the Greffa Fusion on the field, so that is going to deal with a Nibiru should my opponent have it. And I'm just basically upgrading the field because there's no point in having like a Rainbow and a Greffa in defense mode. I might as well go for the Abao Q. My opponent's going to draw for turn, and basically I've got one set card, 3 cards in the hand. I've got Muckraker, which will protect my Fiends from being destroyed by a card effect or battle. I've then got the Greffa Fusion Dragon, which can currently discard either gold to destroy 2, or can discard silver to make my opponent put 2 cards from their hand back to the deck. So the added benefit of this one is they draw a card for turn. As soon as they activate anything, like, it's a shame it doesn't negate and destroy, and it changes the effect, because obviously if they had opened up something like access to Sage and they go normal summon Sage, I go, okay, cool, well I kind of let you have that. But I've already seen their extra deck. I know they're not on 2 Blue Eyes Spirits, so they can't really turn a Sage into anything right now. So it's more so just kind of like limitations of what they've got. So they're going to activate Wishes. They have to discard a cast, and this is the biggest weakness of this deck. It's like instantly there is no way I let Wishes resolve, and the last 2 cards they have in the hand get put back to the bottom of the deck. So we loop that down. We're now going to use the Abao Q to discard and destroy the Ceruli, and then it's basically just return the silver to the hand for Greffa, and then go battle phase and just swing in and move into game number 2. So game number 2, this is quite a nice thing in a sense, whereas like I was able to kind of put my hand down and be like, go ahead, you get to play Yu-Gi-Oh now, because I don't play any hand interactions in the deck, which I think is kind of nice. I think it's kind of fair. Like if I get to go first and I go off uninterrupted, chances are you're not going to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh with Dark Worlds. Like that's just the way that it is. So start with Wishes, and I'll just say to us, look, I've got no interactions. You can go absolutely ham. Show me what you can do with Blue Eyes. Now, they are relatively new to Blue Eyes in this one. Not like they've only just picked it up, but more so that they are usually play Cyber Dragon, as I already said. So we're going with Wishes. Obviously, give a lot of time, or like a fair amount of time for them to kind of figure out where they want to go. And these are kind of like the learning points of where they kind of want to take it. It's a shame that they discarded the Raw, but then it means that their hand, or they must have felt that their hand was that good and that powerful. And then they're trying to navigate around, because at the end of the day, if I say I've got no interactions, you then have to try and kind of consider how much aggression they've got. So they're trying to set up a very, very good control Blue Eyes field. And when you take into account that a Spirit Dragon can actually be pretty good for them, because a Spirit Dragon can negate one of my graveyard effects, which pretty much all the Dark Worlds want to do. And then it stops me summoning 2 monsters at the same time, which I don't rarely do. But in like a canine matchup, it can be pretty damaging. So it's like, okay, cool, you can't Yoku or Lantern, which can be quite devastating for them. So we go Sage. Sage goes into Blue Eye Spirit. Obviously, we've got Maiden. Maiden gets True Light. So you're getting the kind of the basics go in there. Activate the Mausoleum. Mausoleum will ultimately end up sending Blue Eyes from deck to grave. Use the Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon to tag itself out to bring back Blue Eyes. And then it's kind of just working from there. And this is where the Raw, like the fact that they added the Majesty and they discarded the Raw or opened up the Raw is a big kind of like an interesting thing to see. And what I mean by that is like the Majesty makes sense. So we bring back the Blue Eyes, we bring back the Maiden. And the reason the Majesty makes sense is if you get enough Blue Eyes into play, the idea is, and you'll see this by the end field that they kind of end with, there's a lot of spell and trap interactions towards me. And that's probably one of Dark World's weakest options. It's actually a good approach from Blue Eyes to do this, because the Dark Worlds themselves, yeah, Greffa can slowly pick cards apart, and obviously it can target out the True Light and work on from there. But then you've also got to consider that they don't have a lot of natural spell and trap removal apart from the Greffa. And unless I get a monster that makes me discard or triggers an effect that their monster effect lets me discard gold's not going to destroy anything either. So We've got the Tyrant, the Neo Blue Eyes in the graveyard to protect targeted effects, which means Spirit Dragon, of course, will be able to resolve if and when it needs to. We've got Spirit Dragon on the field, which is obviously a great way to start. We know that they've already got access to Majesty, and this is where Raw kind of comes into play as well, is if you didn't get access to Majesty, you would have been able to use True Light to set the Raw, activate the Raw, get another Blue Eyes to the field, that then upgrade your Majesty from being a Destroyer 1 to a Destroyer 2. So I think that's the big kind of crux, or the big difference with this one. Maybe they would have liked to have discarded a different card. But as I mentioned, once you see what they end with, it makes so much sense as to why they decided to discard the Raw. So, yeah, not the worst approach, but definitely a more, not as combo heavy. I also don't believe that they have the Primite package, or they just haven't seen the Primite package in either of the games right now. But, you know, that's just kind of luck of the draw. That's the way Yu-Gi-Oh goes from time to time. So, just trying to figure out the next steps on this one as to like where to take it. And another thing as well is when you're trying to navigate around what Dark World dangers can do, like how do you navigate around that? Like the best thing you could do is you go, right, okay, well, worst case scenario, they do this if they resolve, but best case scenario, if they don't resolve, they do this. What do I do? So you can kind of see that we're setting free right now. Ending on Spirit Dragon again, you're not just ending on a Spirit Dragon isn't like, oh my god, this is the most broken thing in the world. You still have the ability of True Light if he wishes to use it to bring back a Blue Eyes from the graveyard. I think he sets Ultimate Fusion on this one, which is also something to be quite careful of as well, because Ultimate Fusion, after he uses Majesty, he can actually summon out like the Blue Eyes, summon out Blue Eyes Tyrant, which can be quite annoying to recycle resources as well. So like in a simplified game state, recycling Majesty is pretty crazy. So we're going to set one being the field spell. We reveal a danger. I believe it was Jackalope on this one. And we roll for randomness. We hit a rainbow, so pretty much a perfect hit on that one. Nessie summons and draws. Rainbow's effect to attempt to. We're going to go for Magnamut, which is actually quite a good hit, because the Magnamut now stops my resource loop and stops me getting Genta back to the field, which is quite annoying. So it would be Rainbow Chaining 1, Magnamut Chaining 2, banishing that. I go for the original Rainbow, because again, I'm going second. Like, going to colourless could actually win me quite a bit here. Genta's going to search out a second gate of the Dark World. And this is where it's actually like really important that they ultimately hit the Rainbow, because now I can't, I've hard opened up both the gates, so adding the Genta back to the hand wouldn't have really got me anywhere. But being able to get Rainbow back to the field would have been a big difference, because then it would have been a much stronger monster. So we banished the Genta. We've now got discard a Fiend. We're just debating which Fiend we've got. So we've got gold we can discard. So we draw one, gold Chaining 1, Genta Chaining 2. We're going to chain Spirit here. Spirit's going into ultimateness. So like they probably could have... I personally would have gone maybe Chaining 1... So Chaining 1 Rainbow, Chaining 2 Spirit, Chaining 3 Magnamut. Might have been the better way of doing it, but... yeah, just getting rid of the rainbow is pretty massive here. So we hit the original rainbow. Jackalope summons and draws. Hitting the original rainbow is not the end of the world. Like, we're basically just trying to dig for a session now so that we can work our way into colourless. I don't really want to banish the rainbow, which is like the worst one to hit. So I need to get another Fiend into the graveyard. So we're going to use Nessie and Jackalope and go into Cross Sheep. And now I'm just saying to him, like, you know, Cross Sheep will trigger to revive a level 4 or lower from the graveyard. And then, like, this is crazy to me, but it puts in so much work as well. So we hit Majesty. Reveal the 1 Blue Eyes. Really doesn't want me to keep Cross Sheep on the field. And, you know, make of it what you will. But that actually, like, the Magnamut on the rainbow, so unexpected, trumps me. The Majesty on the Cross Sheep, again, so unexpected, and again, trumps me. Like, it makes it very awkward. I was like, I could have done with that Cross Sheep to bring back a body on the field to then help me link even further. So, just kind of looking at the other options we've got here. So we're trying to put 2 more into the graveyard. We'll go for a IP. I kind of feel that I maybe should have gone for an SP at this one, to be honest. An SP probably would have done a lot better for me, but then he just judgments it anyway. So, okay, so we're activating the second gaze effect. We're banishing the Genta, discarding Jackalope, which is the only other fiend we've got in the hand. Jackalope's effect is going to trigger to try and revive another danger from the graveyard. So again, just trying to get a body back onto the field, being Nessie. I was hoping to kind of draw something a little bit more, which I drew into a Lava Golem. So the idea was I wanted to get rid of the ultimateness so that I could resolve the accession, because otherwise the ultimateness just targets the accession, negates the accession. I'm like, bruh. So we're now going to use the banish effect. So we're going to banish 2 Dark Fiends and, of course, the original Rainbow to go into colourless. Colourless effect is going to attempt to kind of like nuke the field. The idea was like trying to get rid of that True Light would have done so much, and just a simple imperm, like a simple imperm after all of that really cooks colourless. And ultimately, like the more and more I think about it, looking at other ways I could have gone, like I've burnt so much resource here. There's nowhere more I can go, so I might as well scoop it and we go into game 3 anyway. So we start with Dark Corridor, probably like the best start you could go with. Just hope and pray that my opponent doesn't have a draw on Lot Bird, otherwise this would suck so bad, because you'd go, cool, add Snow, discard Snow, Snow's effect Chain Link 1, and they'll go Droll Chain Link 2, and you just sit there going, oh, cool, guess I don't get to add anything. So we add the Genta. Genta grabs you the gates, activating the gates here, banishing the Genta, trying to repeat basically what we did in duel number 1. So banish the Genta, discard the Rainbow, Chain Link 1 Rainbow, Chain Link 2 Genta, get Genta back to the field. Rainbow's going to search me the level 5 or higher, so I can get Silver, Gold, Original Rainbow, or Grepher. I think, if I remember correctly, I took out the Original Rainbow, because this was like duel number 3, going close to time. And I didn't feel that I needed it. So return Genta to the hand, and then I get hit with a Purge. I'm like, bro, what? What the hell? You held the Purge past Dark Corridor, and you held the Purge past the first Genta, and then you hit my second Genta, and I'm like, bro, that would have really helped me. Like a second Gates would have helped. So we set 1, we reveal Nessie, now it's all the luck of the roll. Hit the 3, which is a session, which I don't really mind. Nessie summons and draws. Trying to think what I've got left in my hand here. I think I've got a Quackimiru Guardian, and I'm like, well, normal summon down the Quackimiru Guardian just in case there's a Nibiru. A session, discarding Grepher, returning Grepher to the hand for... returning Rainbow to the hand for Grepher. Activate card destruction, we get rid of Buell, we get rid of Rainbow, and we get rid of a session. So I draw 3 new cards, and then I get to use Buell's effect and Rainbow's effect. So we grab myself a Silver, we grab a Mutiny. Obviously, because I've got original Grepher in rotation, as soon as I get that to the graveyard, I can go into the Fusion Grepher. So be in a good position at that point. So that's why we're going to link these 2 off, go into an IP, and then IP just gets fired off of an Imperm. I'm like, bro, why? Like hindsight, it's like if I'd even gone into Cross Sheet, that just gets hit with a Imperm anyway. I mean, the idea was to use Mutiny here anyway to try and get into Grepher, which is exactly what I've done. Playing through a Purge, I mean, the Enfield's not perfect, and I'm not, saying that it is, but playing through a Purge and playing through an Imperm, going into a Muckraker as well. Muckraker discards Rainbow, brings back Snow. Rainbow just searches me out I think I'm going for Gold at this point, because then I've got Silver for the Rip 2, and I've got Gold for... I've got Gold for the Pop 2 if I need it. So Rainbow comes back to the field, returns the Snow back to the hand, so I've got that resource as well. And then pass turn. So my opponent's playing with 4 cards here right now. They fire off the Imperm to try and bait out the Grepher. And I'm like, you know what? I'm obviously not going to let that resolve. And I'm going to hit them with the Silver. The Silver's going to make them put 2 cards back. And I think they kind of like miscalculated what they have. Because if they had one more card in their hand, Wishes would have been godly, because then it's like, right, okay, I don't stop Wishes. And they're like, pass, and I went, okay, cool, battle phase, switch to attack, swing in for game, kind of vibe, and went from there. So, overall, good duel. It kind of showed you that the duel number 2 showed how the deck can push through certain things, but it has its limits within reason. I mean, if you're facing down a Judgment, a Majesty, an Omni, Target Negate, and then something else, it's always going to be a fun one. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Till next time, as absolutely always, stay safe, and of course, happy dueling.